Congress returns next week. We have a very stark choice before us. The House Republican Transportation Bill declares war on Illinois, Chicago, and mass transit across America. There is no explanation and no defense for their approach, which would once and for all cut the link between the highway gas fund, gas taxes that are collected, and the support of mass transit. 30 years ago, we raised the gas tax a nickel and dedicated 20% of the federal gas tax revenues to mass transit. It is an agreement that has withstood the changes of administrations, Democrats and Republicans, and is now being assaulted by the House Republican Transportation Bill. Secretary of Transportation Ray LaHood, a former Republican congressman, says this is the most partisan transportation bill in his memory, and he called it lousy. And it is lousy, because if we allow it to continue, we will find ourselves losing the support for mass transit that is absolutely essential. There are many other parts of this bill that are equally horrifying. A cutback by 25% of the support for Amtrak at a time when Amtrak is expanding, is providing more service, and should grow to alleviate highway congestion and give passengers an option. The House Republicans want to cut it by 25%. A cutback in the funds coming back to Illinois for transportation needs at a time when our government in our state is broke and needs every nickel. The House Republican approach would cut it. That, to me, is indefensible and certainly something that we ought to fight. I'm calling on the Illinois congressional delegations, all members, House and Senate, to come out against this House transportation bill. We have to stand as one in a bipartisan fashion. And there's an alternative. The alternative in the Senate is a bipartisan bill co-sponsored by Senators Boxer and Inhofe, Democrat and Republican, which is going to maintain the level of funding for highways in our state, maintain the Amtrak support, and maintain the support for mass transit from the Highway Trust Fund. Those are three critical elements. It is a clear choice. Now, when Speaker Boehner recessed at the end of last week, he was talking about splitting the House bill into three parts. He can split it into 3 parts or 30 parts, and it's still a mess. It's a mess that ought to be rejected by the House, and I hope by the entire Illinois congressional delegation.